Welcome to the Paranormal Project radio show. Journey with us through mystical realms to a world of the unexplained. If you're ready, take a deep breath and let curiosity be your guide. And now, here are your hosts, spirit medium Scott Allen and Christina Bowen, the Green Witch of Tennessee.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Paranormal Project radio show. Christina, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. How are you doing today, Scott?
Good. You know, it's funny because I haven't talked to you this weekend like I normally do. I have been up to my eyeballs and stuff, and it's so good to have this time to kind of chat with you.
I know, get caught up.
I'm excited. We're going to have a fun night tonight. So I know you know that I was in Scotland not this past summer, the summer before, so it would have been July of 2022, and it was myself and Andrea Perron and Julie, my former co-host, and some other friends had all been in Scotland, and we met two friends there, and we got to investigate with it some pretty cool places. So we're going to take a little trip down memory lane tonight, and I think you're going to like them. We're going to have a good time. They brought some evidence, they brought some videos and clips, and we are going to talk about haunted places, which is really what I love to do most. So without further ado, please bring my friends Mikey, Thompson, and Cheryl Plumb onto the show. There you are. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hey.
It's so good to see you again.
It's great to see you.
This is
Great
awesome.
to meet you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, because you guys hadn't met before. Yeah. Where are you in front of, Mikey? Is that a real place or is that
I'm in
just a background?
Scotland. No.
Oh, cool.
I'm at Balgony Castle.
Oh, that is Balgony Castle. So we had the opportunity to go there, which was really great. Yeah.
We actually had the most amazing investigation there after the tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear.
I know. We went and we spent some time and we got a few little things, but I'm sure after the fact was great. I would have loved to have been able to spend some time there with you guys. But
let's
you
go
brought
back.
a lot of things with you. I'm ready to go back. I'm definitely ready to go back.
I
think there was a lot I would have loved to have done and didn't get a chance to do. There were things I was hoping to see and investigate that we didn't get to see and investigate. So I'm ready to get a trip back there and maybe keep it a little casual this time, you know, not 35 or 50 people, just, you know, just keep it a smaller group. It does. It's harder to get in and out of places and that kind of thing. I think it's great when you have this small little intimate group, you know, to be able to go and experience some of these things. So I really love some of these photos you brought, and we're going to put some of these up on the screen. But tell me a little bit about Scotland and what was your favorite part of that whole experience that we shared together?
Why don't you go, Mikey?
Oh, wow. I mean,
besides meeting us, you know, I mean, because I know that was like,
no. Pick just one, right? You can't. For me personally, I don't know why, but I absolutely fell in love with the town of Kouros. I love that town. I was drawn to it, and I mean, Cheryl and I walked and explored. We found this old cemetery. It's just the whole town for me was amazing, but I got to tell you, we started out with a bang at Airth, and that's where, you know, one of the most how do I say this, Scott? It was a moment that we shared there during your live reading. I would say for me was a very I needed that kind of a thing, and we can talk about that if you want to later or whenever. But
whatever you like. Yeah.
Yeah, because
you mean in terms of the reading itself? Is that what you're saying?
And the message. It was the message there that came through. I mean, Cheryl, also Kat. There was a lot of us that got to experience that. But for me personally, I'd never. It was confirmation for me, and so that was really, you know, being there with you and that time that we spent there together. For me, that moment was it was a beautiful thing, and I'm so thankful for that, and I'm glad that we had that opportunity to sit and do a reading and be part of that with you. So yeah.
So Airth Castle was definitely one of my favorite parts of the whole thing. Also Balgony Castle, because we had like such a touching thing happen during our investigation, which was filmed by the Dark Zone, so it's there forever for me to go back and look at. But Aerith Castle, I mean, between the stuff that happened in our investigation and your reading, again, I was not super open to thinking somebody would come through for me. That's why when you started saying things and they actually like were meant for me, I didn't get it right away. So that was a new experience. That was a very new
Cheryl,
experience.
did somebody come to now? See, this is how it is for me. Like it comes to me and not to me. So I don't even remember. I do remember
My grandfather. I am like
mother.
full. I'm going crazy. Goosebumps over here. So like my grandfather apparently came through because you were talking about this little man with a cane and a top hat. My grandfather was a ballroom dancer, and he was,
oh my gosh,
he was of my stature, maybe 5'8", a little taller.
yeah.
But when you started saying that stuff, and I was like, it was kind of in the back of my mind, like that could be Jaju. But of course, I'm not thinking it was for me, until you kind of like made it obvious, like, yeah,
on a few
that
things.
is for you.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. It was really interesting because I was watching Andrea talk about her Conjuring House experience.
Mm-hmm.
And when she was there and when she was talking, the woman that came through for Mikey was right there, right at the front. And I thought, man, I don't know who she is, but I felt like she was pretty strong. She made herself known early. And which was really funny about that place, because the energy was really cool in there. That makes a huge difference. If I'm doing a reading or a gallery like that in a place that has a lot of energy, that's haunted, I just feel like the vibration's better and you get more detail. And I remember that place. I don't know who was sitting in the back of the room. There was a woman sitting in the back, but on the opposite side. So if I'm looking at you, you were on the right. Whoever it was on the left, there was
behind you.
It was on the other side.
Yeah, Kat was over on that side.
So it was Kat, and there was a boy and a girl who had passed in an automobile accident. And I remember this, and I remember that one of them had passed first and waited for the other one. And it was all like, in fact, I remember saying to her, I said, they are right there in that back row. That's where they are. And she raised her hand. She said, it's like, that's who it is. They're right here with me. I mean, that was really bizarre. And it isn't often that level of detail will come through on a reading, that I'll know exactly where they're sitting. And that person for you, Mikey, that was just, I mean, obviously you made you made an impression, clearly.
Yeah, I've been in readings before, and like I'm the tech guy. I'm the I put a camera up and I film it guy. I haven't explored all of that side yet, but so. I didn't feel like anybody else or everybody else that you were talking to that was specifically for them. For some reason, that woman that you described reminded me of that patient, and I could not get her out of my head. Once you described her, Scott, like the hair, she was very passionate about her hair.
Right.
And it was red hair. You described she had beautiful red hair, and now, so that woman, out of all the patients that I've come in contact with every day for years, this woman would not let go. Like, she was just in my head. That's why I even waited towards the end, like, hey, Scott, could this be a thing? But why would she be in Scotland, or why would, you know what I mean? So I had so many questions, but that just felt to me like that was her. And I've always wondered if it made a difference if I stayed with people while they were passing and played music for them or talked to them or held their hand. I've just, in the back of your mind, you wonder, did it even help? Like, was it effective at all? So, and when you said yes, she heard you, and the fact that I was telling her what her family was asking to say, like, the whole thing was just mind-blowingly like emotional for me, because it really just it gave me the strength to just keep doing that. That's always been a thing for me, but now that I know, or I feel like they know, then I'm all in with it. So that was just such a great experience for me.
And it was actually, it was groundbreaking for me too, because that was the first time that I actually had some kind of a contact that was meant for me in one of these group readings. I've done group readings before with big name psychics, and nobody's ever like reached out to me.
Wow.
So that right there opened me up. I never spent as much time with a medium, you know, thus far as I did with you. So, and now the more I open up and the more I pay attention, I'm seeing, you know, I'm seeing the
that third eye is opening.
And the process for me, Scott, if you don't mind me sharing,
not at all.
I'm very observant, and so I noticed like there was at one point we even delayed this reading a little bit because there was so much coming through. You were overwhelmed. I'm not saying you were overwhelmed, but what I'm saying is there was some point I think that I remember you had to take a break and step back because it was just it was very
so much energy.
You were affected by this. So we actually came back and did this another time because initially it was just a lot. And to see the process for somebody that does this and to watch how it affects you. And so that, you know, so when we're in that room and we're doing this and knowing that you're tuned in now and whatever's coming is coming and there's no stopping it. I think the craziest thing for me about this whole thing was we were filming it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
No video of it.
Yep.
We love that.
We lost.
And the video's gone.
The video's gone.
It was before. I'm getting goosebumps right now.
I did too. I have them too.
The video right up to the beginning, it stopped. Right when I started reading, went right through the whole gallery and then picked up where it ended. The whole thing is gone.
Yeah.
The whole thing is gone.
But the recorder never stopped recording.
It never stopped recording. Barbara had the recorder and she was going around and it never stopped. And it picked up before and after, but not in the middle.
Yeah.
Now tell me that isn't just bizarre. And you know what else is strange too? And I remember this now because some of the details, they kind of go after a while. But I remember with her, when a spirit shows me identifying features, right? Whether it's a shoe or a foot or a hand, you know, if they show me a hand, I know there's something with their hand. I don't know what, but there's something going on, right? That's going to ring a bell. It was her hair. It wasn't just that it was red, is that it was like she had bedhead. It's like she needed to be brushed.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was really significant. And you had said afterwards that you brushed her hair for her, which I thought was just like, holy crap.
Well, the family wasn't able to come. And the sister said she loves her hair and she's always brushing her hair. She asked us, would you please make sure that her hair is brushed and washed and just keep it, because she loves her hair. So we did. We would, when, you know, we'd turn her and bathe her and clean her, we would brush her hair and, you know, lay it on her chest or whatever, but she had beautiful hair. And so that was so important to the family that we just keep that going and not let her just lie there and get bedhead or put it up in a ponytail or whatever. So we did that. And so that was another thing for me when you were describing, I'm like, I just kept seeing her and I'm like, can this be her? So I kind of asked you, if you remember, I'm like, hey Scott, I got to throw this at you. And I think I'm a fool, but you were like, that's her. That's her. 100%.
Once you made the connection, and they usually give me this kind of like thing, they give me this feeling that I don't usually get if I'm not doing a reading. It's not just goosebumps. It's a different kind of a feeling. And when we make that connection, I get it. And I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know, but that place was hopping. And I think the vibration and the energy in it kind of enhanced everything, really and truly.
Yeah. Because there's so much history. It was so old and had battles and so much history.
Even in that little session there, or when we did the investigation there, if you remember, Andrea was picking up that young man, the young boy. She kept getting the number 23 or 32, remember? And then the younger people in the group were picking up on stuff. Like, it was just so charged. Everybody was having some kind of personal experience there as well. And so, it was just one thing after another. And then we were getting, validation with EVPs and equipment going off. Rick with his K2 meter, just, 5 lights blaring. I mean, it was just, it was amazing property. So,
and I got pushed down. I mean, I didn't actually go down. I got pushed into the room. I was standing in the hallway. It was right when you walk in the door. There was this little small little lobby. And I was standing on the inside doorway, and it just all of a sudden I was like, boom, I was right in.
That was early on, wasn't it? Was that early on?
I don't remember if it was before or after. I don't remember.
I think it was before we started filming. I think it was.
Oh, okay. Yep. See,
So
I don't
kind of come on
remember.
in.
I think it was set up. You were setting up, maybe, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Hey, Cheryl, Nancy wants to know, had you ever been read by a psychic before?
I have friends who are psychics, but I generally don't, ask my friends to do that sort of thing. But I have had two amazing people do tarot readings on me. The first one was this beautiful man named Ken Boggle. He just had a TV show come out, Living for the Dead, and he nailed me. He nailed me. He was like, do you have any idea you're an empath? And he just went on, telling me how to get rid of the bad energy that I'm hanging on to and all this wonderful stuff. But, and the second guy was in Tombstone, but I was always open to hearing things. But again, if my friends are psychic, I'm not one to be like, hey, what do you know about me? Like, what's going to happen?
And you know what, too? It doesn't really work that way. At least for me.
Right.
If I know you and I know things about you, I can't bring it through. Like if we did another reading together, if we were all together again, going back to Earth Castle, I would question whether that person coming through was really the person that was there before, because I know about her and I would remember her. It's hard to. It's almost like I need to know nothing. In order to validate.
And I wanted to be very picky. I don't, I don't just go out going to every, tarot card reader, every psychic and asking them for questions. I was very choosy. I was 40 years old before I got my first tarot reading,
Wow. Yeah.
So it was the right time and it was the right person.
I want to stick a photo up here of Earth Castle because I know you sent one. This is such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
And Earth Castle is a hotel on top of it. It was closed. We weren't able to stay there, sadly. We were, stuck in the roadside motel up the street a little bit. But the castle was amazing. And I don't know if they're doing work in there or what they're doing. But we were lucky enough to be able to use it and investigate there because there were no guests.
Yeah.
And do the gallery. So it was really great. It's such a beautiful, beautiful building.
Yeah, there was a lot of construction going on, and that could have been part of it too. The stirring up the activity. Yeah, and right behind Earth is Falkirk, and that's where William Wallace fell to the English. And it's rumored that the English took him to Earth before they took him to London, because they were worried about retaliation, and there were more, and the Scots were in control of Earth at the time. Robert the Bruce later came and burned it down after when he went on his rampage. But that's part of that, and this is all information that we got from some of the locals there. So the records don't stick around after the 1300s and whatnot. But so these are some of the stories from the locals there at that place. But if even so, that would be. There's so much history there. Like Cheryl was saying, that it's parts of the original structure there. A lot of it was wood, but
still downstairs. Yeah.
No, that is not the place, Nancy. We were in, I don't remember where that was. We were up in the Highlands. Do you remember seeing that photo? We were in the Highlands and we were all having dinner. It was this big, long table.
Yes.
And I can't think of the name of the inn. It was kind of an old
Stagecoach Inn.
Stagecoach Inn. Yep. And we were all at dinner.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there, and there's this black thing hanging over me. Did you see that? The black mist.
I did. Right by Jay Blumke. The back of the picture.
Right by Jay Blumke. Yes. Yep. Right at the end. It was kind of wild. And then I actually went to bed in there. What's that?
I was sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think you're talking about that we took the big group photo.
Yes, that big group photo. Yeah. And the most amazing dinner ever.
It was fantastic. And then they woke me up, got me out of bed because they felt they needed to do Reiki on me. I'm like, guys, I'm fine. I am not possessed. It's okay. It's okay. But I humored them and then went to bed. But it was really great. So let's see. What else do we have? You want to look at a few more pictures? Greyfriars. Now, Greyfriars That's the one.
Greyfriars.
So that's our. Yep, we got Lori Dorsey. We got Jay
Lori.
and his wife in the back.
Yep. That's who that is. His wife. Yep, and Mikey. That was great.
So right, where were we? Sure. I think if you right behind Lori, I believe that this is where the inspiration for Harry Potter, some of the characters came from the headstone.
One of the character names.
Okay. Yes. Yep. I know where you are now. Yep.
Yeah, because JK, hung out in there in Edinburgh. But apparently, on the other side of Greyfriars here is a school, and she used to walk her daughter to the school, and then she would walk around Edinburgh and cruise through the cemetery for inspiration, things like that. Yep. That's again from the locals that are proud. But some of the names in the books are very similar to some of the ones there at Greyfriar.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool.
Unfortunately, I did not add. I did not add the photo where Mikey had his wand, but I'll do that for the next show. I'll do that on the next show.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, or the tree that looked like a butt. I also think that was over at. I think that was
there too. That was there as well.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, Cheryl and I walked by it and we kept looking back and we're like, "That's a butt. We got to go back up in there and connect that tree."
Right.
So.
Oh my gosh. So what happened to you over in the jail, Inverary jail? What happened there?
Well, we did the daytime kind of investigation, and we kind of branched off with the cousins, right, Mikey? And we were with Rick McCollum's cousins. So we just all of a sudden we're all family. But we went into a jail cell and we started getting all this coinciding evidence. We kept getting murder. And then we started getting names on the Phasma box. Was it the Phasma box? It was a necrophonic app. It was a necrophonic.
Necrophonic, okay.
So we were like, okay, maybe we can get a name. So we get a name. And Mikey goes and runs to the cabinet that has a database of all the people that were in that jail and their crimes, and he's looking up this these people's names, and we had gotten an EVP as well that said, I'd said, what was your crime, what did you do? And it was unmistakably murder. So he was able to go through and find, there's the goosebumps again. He was able to go and find a person by the name of, I don't even remember what the name was. Owen. Yes, Owen. Yeah, Owen was in there for murder. Yeah, so we had a good starting point.
Yeah, like Cheryl was saying, Thursday the name came through on the Necrophonics app, and so we said Owen. Okay, so I ran back over there. I was typing in Owens, and I think I pulled up like 4, and the first one was a 34-year-old that was put in for murder. So when we, I mean, that was very cool.
But again, what we like is taking all the different tech, because one thing by itself, that doesn't impress me much. But you start adding the EVP saying murder, the name on the Necrophonic app that matches the database. And I mean, that whole place was intense during the day.
Yeah.
It was intense.
It's just as haunted with the lights on.
I was just going to say, ghosts don't know the lights are on.
Right. But for the most part, I like the dark because, my senses are heightened when I can't see as much. So like I'm very audio driven. So that's when I get, I notice my best audio. But yeah, during the day, even with all the distraction.
All that stuff. And there were a lot of people there. I mean, it was great.
And add animals to the mix.
What's that?
Oh, I was just
add animals to the mix.
Some of the other groups that had gone off in the other parts of the jail were having experiences too. I mean, they were hearing stuff upstairs above them, and it was going on all around us.
Yeah, upstairs. We even had, my REM pod going off and like all these other things happening. I got it all on video, but again, it's 30 minutes of of things happening. How do you cut down to just one?
Yeah, it's incredible, really. It's incredible. Yeah. And I love that. I wish we'd had more of that while we were there. I wish we could have stayed
the
longer.
History. So much history.
Incredible. Yeah, and what's the other thing here? I'm just looking back because it's like a little memory, a trip down memory lane. I just want to see him. Greyfriars and Inverary. Oh, Roslyn Chapel. All right. That is a really cool. That is a really cool picture. Let me grab that here. Roslyn Chapel. I mean, you would remember that from the Da Vinci Code.
I was about to ask if it was the one in the same.
It is the one in the same. And if you look closely, the author of the Da Vinci Code. No, he's not in the photo. But Andrea Perron, there is one author. There she is, right, sort of to the right.
There's two authors. Rick McCollum also has a
That's
couple
right
books
too.
out.
Rick
One
McCollum
very
has
recently.
That's correct.
He wrote about
yes.
our shenanigans in Scotland as well. And Mikey wrote in the book.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you did?
And I'm in
how
it.
cool is that?
Little story.
So if you look at Jay Blumke with his arm up waving, he's the guy waving in the center. And if you look to the right of him, there's Andrea, and then couple to the right is Rick. It's so hard to see.
Hey guys, excuse me 1 second. I'm sorry. I'll be right back.
You go ahead. Yeah, and I don't know. I'm sure you
just
guys are in it. Oh, there's
disappeared.
Mikey. I know. I hate when that happens. You know, I'll tell you before he comes back. This is really interesting, Cheryl, because you made me think of something when, and I think I've shown this to Christina before. We were in. You ever been to the Shanley Hotel? I know it's on the opposite coast. So if you guys ever come down here, we need to plan a trip to the Shanley. But there was a serial killer. There was a serial killer who lived there on the 3rd floor. Long time ago. It was a boarding house. Wasn't a good guy. And the story was his name was Adam. And so, you know, I turned on the necrophonic and I said, "Is this Adam?" And clear as day, you can hear a man speak over and just say, "I'm Adam."
Oh wow! Not even a yes.
Did I show you that? Did I show you that? Let me just. I'm going to show it to you. Give me one second.
I think when we went to Randolph County, you did. It was cool.
It was cool. I mean, it's really. Let's see. Paranormal Project, because it is on our YouTube channel.
We're planning our date to the Shanley Hotel, Mikey. That's what you missed.
We got to go.
Okay.
I'm going to show you this because it's like the coolest thing. You just made me think of it when you were talking about. Let me take this photo off. When you were talking about the Owen guy, the murder guy. So this guy was a serial killer, and it's incredible. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to share this. I want to go here. Check this out.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Very clear.
Wow.
That's as clear as clear. Yeah. Got it going on the background. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that makes you go, all right now. That's
yeah.
You know,
and then when you pair it with, you know, the history and other things that happen, that's what gets my goat right there.
I love it.
I'm curious, what brought you guys into the paranormal field? Everybody has an origin story when it comes to that.
I'm going to go first because Mikey's story is like touching. I'm going to cry again. It was a whole fun thing for my family. I lived in a small town, wasn't a lot to do. So my mom would take us out and we would just go check out abandoned buildings and, you know, run around cemeteries with flashlights. It was a fun thing for us. And we were always very spooky watching things. So once the paranormal became, you know, more mainstream, Strange Escapes started having like weekend events. So I started taking my sister and we like had a bonding thing happen. So we just started doing all these investigations and I ended up meeting, you know, the Dark Zone and going and then meeting Mikey at the LA Police Museum. Funny because we had a misconnection at the Queen Mary. The same time we both met Andrea Perron for the first time. Mm-hmm. We were both there, but we did not meet. Yeah. So weird.
Yeah. Well, I got into the paranormal. The big thing that happened, long story short, in 2002, my daughter drowned in the pool, 16 months old, and she was asystole for 26 minutes. And I did CPR and took her to the hospital I worked at, and we got her back, and she's in school for prereqs for nursing. Everything's fine. But it was after that incident when we got home from the drowning. We were in the hospital for about a month, and we started having some really extreme paranormal things happening at home. She in particular was tortured by this thing she called Little Man. And so she would wake up having night terrors, and I would wake up having night terrors. And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what was happening to her. I didn't know if it was related to the drowning, if something attached itself when she came back, or one day I'm a normal guy working a job and everything. Now I'm, thrown into this paranormal world and fighting something I can't see. So, and it was very real. It was very real. So my journey for me, this is therapy.
Yeah.
It's
imagine.
I get to meet people that have similar stories or not, but that don't want to feel like they're crazy. And they want validation for things. And I think, it's important that we talk about this stuff and to have a family, a paranormal family, really, that we've built here, is therapeutic and it's necessary. I can come to Scott and Cheryl and I can tell this story and you won't think I'm crazy. Whereas I wouldn't go to work and tell the doctors I work with this because I don't want to be, thought is
a grippy sock vacation.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's not that they would treat me that way, but it's just that's how it is when you go through something like that. So for me, my journey continues because I really just I like trying to help people that are living, and I like to try to help people that have passed. And hopefully someone, even if it's one person in all these years that has seen something that we've done or had a similar story that's had some kind of validation for themselves or some kind of relief from this, then it's a win. So that's why I'm still doing this.
And I think that's why we get along so well.
Yeah.
Because I've been able to learn so much from Mikey as far as like the empathetic part of us, like what can we do to help you? We're coming into this space. We're not trying to taunt the spirits. We're trying to say, hey, do you need to talk? Like, is there something you want to say? Can we help you? Is there anything you need to do? Here come the goosebumps again. And we've had some amazing experiences where it feels like we really did get to help, even in a small way, even if things go back to normal. We've been able to help some of these unseen people.
That's a beautiful thing, though. It really is to actually be able to help people and understand they're not crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. Everybody assumes you start talking about ghosts and they're either going to go hyper religious on you or you're a nut job.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm so grateful we've got an in-between place now. He said a safe space where we can talk about these things.
Yeah, I love the fact that I can tell Scott this story about this patient that I had, and he doesn't think, he didn't say, Mikey, there's no way that this patient of yours is going to travel thousands of miles across the sea to be here today to have this event. Maybe that was the only way she could get there and tell me that she heard me, or
she's been there all along and you just didn't notice.
Right.
And maybe she's just around you, and that there is no space and time anyway. So, not to negate the fact that she was in Scotland, but I don't know that it's all that complicated for them either. I think they're just really a thought away all the time.
I totally agree. I don't think there is time and space once,
But I really think too about like what you do for work and how that changes you. And you said that you, because of the reading that we shared together, you have a better understanding of how the things that you do for those who are less fortunate, who are dying, who are sick, it really does make a difference. And maybe you wondered that, maybe you hoped that, but you know, and it changes how you work, and you're more aware of that.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I don't know if you know this about me. You may. I don't remember, but I was a funeral director for like 35 years. And I did that. Which is sort of the complete opposite of what you do in a way, but it's still caring for people.
100%.
Yes.
And
100%.
I was burnt out and I left, and somehow I found myself in this niche where I'm still working with the bereaved, with the grieving, because the grieving come in and caring for the people who have crossed, but in a different way, because I'm delivering their messages. So I really feel like, we follow our life's work, we follow our purpose, and it sticks with us. And you can move things around, move the little chess pieces, but I still think at the end of the day, you're doing what you're supposed to do, and you learn and you grow from these experiences.
Yeah, I was going to, chime in on, you were talking about, or Cheryl had done the readings for the first time. And so before Scotland, I have a friend that sees a Reiki master in Vegas. Mm-hmm. And he was out visiting, and I went up to visit him, and he had made an appointment and asked me to go with him. So I went, and he didn't tell me until we were on the way there that he'd made an appointment for me too. So we get there, I walk in, I sit on the couch, I'm quiet, I don't know what to expect. I'm watching him do his session so that I can kind of get a feel of what's happening. And the guy doesn't say a lot to me. He's just a quiet, it's a different kind of vibe in there. And I don't do this, so I don't know what's happening. But when I went up for my turn, I sat down, and he starts, doing his thing. And he goes, "You're in the medical field?" And I thought to myself, why would you pick that? Of all things, why would you pick that? Not a bodyguard or not a truck driver. Like, why medical field? And he goes, well, it's more the people that came in with you. Oh. He said, when you walked in through the door, I was overwhelmed by the amount of people behind you. And when you sat on the couch, you have a crowd behind you in my living room. And I was trying to figure out what's happening here, but I understand it's the medical field. And he goes, and long story short, he called me, he said, "You're an angel of death." And that scared me initially. He said, don't freak out about that. He goes, it's not a bad thing. He goes, what I mean is you're a light, and they look for you, or they talk about you. Hey, Mikey's, he'll help you, or whatever. It's a good thing. And so that brought up more questions for me than anything, because I'd always been that way. Like I said, I hold a hand, I hold a baby, whatever's happening, people are dying, that I would do what I could do. But it wasn't until last year when you had your reading and she came through that that was the last piece of the puzzle that I needed to see the picture. It clicked. And you helped me do that, and I hope that all your fans and listeners and believers behind you understand that that's what you do, and to keep listening.
Absolutely.
But you know what, Mikey, and I'm telling you, I'm getting like all kinds of feels tonight. I really am. It's crazy. It's like goosebumps everywhere. But I feel like it's me, but it's not me. I just listen.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's what I was told. That's my superpower, apparently, is listening. Like, people like to vent to me, and I thought it was just like, oh, that's because I'm just that guy. Everybody likes to vent to me, but no, I'm a sponge. Like, give it to me. Whatever's bothering you, just give it to me.
Yeah.
Empaths can soak that energy off of people.
I'm finding
you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself to get rid of that, and make sure you know what's yours. Yeah. What belongs to somebody else.
Right. And that's not an easy thing to decipher.
It's not.
Being new. So yeah, it's
But it really comes through for us in these investigations. Like Cheryl, she does that with the living. But when we were in Balgoni behind me, and we had an encounter down in the chapel, there was Cheryl can feel that, and we call her the audio queen, but she felt like this was an opportunity for her she didn't run from the opportunity to go down there and meet with this entity that the other group, the Scottish Paranormal, and have had experiences with in the past. She said, I got to go in there. I'm going to go in there by myself and talk to this guy. And I think it's because she listened. Like she said, she's not just listening to, me talk about my experience. She's listening to the environment, and she went in there and she did that, and we had an amazing encounter there too. So we kind of go in this as tech geeks with everything. I buy all the stuff and I turn on. But everyone that I've ever worked with said, Mikey, your most important piece of equipment that you bring to an investigation is you. And we're learning that. Cheryl, I think Cheryl and I are more open to that, and the more open we are, the better experiences we have.
I feel so much more now. I love my toys. Don't get me wrong. Please, I love my toys.
I get it.
I know where to put them now because I'm like, oh, I'm feeling something. Like I've been doing house cleansing with my friend, the American Witch, Melissa St. Hilaire. And like the minute I walked into this last house, I was like, whoa, like 1938, old Hollywood. And I totally felt all that energy. And it is so strange to me because I never had that before. But I start paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, start paying attention.
The more you do it, the more that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But we need people like Scott and, the Andreas and the Ricks and that are doing this, that encourage you to do that. Again,
and lead you.
Yes, it goes back to that whole, I don't want to talk about it and do it because I don't want to feel weird. And where Scott will say, no, listen and go to it. Run to the fireman. Don't run away from it. Like,
I mean, here's the thing, Mikey, like when I say all I do is listen, I mean, but if they don't talk to me, I don't get it. Right. I'm just lucky that they choose me to talk to you because I can't do it without them. I mean, it's not like teaching somebody a magic trick, and you can repeat it over and over. I mean, I sit before a reading and I think, okay, I'm here for you. I'm trusting you. So like, guys, don't go for coffee because if you're gone, I can't do this, and it always, you just have to learn to trust. I think that, it's true, really. I used to go on investigations and I'd have my bag of tricks and all my stuff. And I realized that I really didn't get anything. And people would say to me, do you feel anything? I'm like, no, I got nothing. Like feeling it. And I think it was because I was so focused on the bag of tricks and wondering what I'd pick up on this thing or that thing, that I'm not stopping myself and just being and just listening. And so I'm going away this weekend. I have doing an event up in Maine, the Parafest, Maine, and there's an investigation Friday night. I'm not bringing anything, but I'll probably bring a K2. That's it. I'm not doing anything else. I just want to sit and feel it, because I feel like I don't do enough of that. And we, in general, we just don't do enough of that. We just rely on the other stuff.
Yeah.
So
I like to layer everything.
Yeah, I'm going on a touristy investigation in Vegas this weekend. So I'm kind of like, I paid for tickets and I'm going, but I'm still bringing, the voice recorder, the K2 and the spirit box because they'll allow it.
There you go.
Well, we've had a great opportunity, Cheryl and I, working together and doing these things to work with mediums and psychics and the marriage of the two. And we've done this. I mean, this isn't new, but having the opportunity to do it has been new to us in our investigations, and it's been amazing because what we pick up, whoever's a medium picks up on something, and like Cheryl said, I know what piece of equipment to grab, and then we say, hey, what, talking to this or whatever, however it works out, we've had really good marriage of the two and really good evidence with it because of that. So it's a great thing.
Yes.
I mean, to be able to work like that and be open and just go and do it.
And our medium friend, she was like, oh my gosh, we were able to literally like pass a spirit on. And she's always like, well, I feel it and I know it's happened. But Mikey ended up recording her basically telling them like what to do, how to go, all this good stuff. And we got this insane sound where it was like a whoosh, like it was like happening.
That's awesome.
So again, she was like, I know it happened, but having that kind of
validation.
For the mediums as well, right? Because the medium,
exactly.
How many times has this happened to you, Scott? How many times have you helped someone cross over or whatever it is that you've done, but you've been by yourself or you've been with a small group of people and you don't have evidence of it, on audio or video, but that doesn't mean that it's not happening. We've been lucky enough to have equipment to document it and validate it for the mediums that are doing this as well. It's, both sides, everybody's getting validation.
I've only done it 3 times. I've never had equipment with me. But I can tell you that the feeling is very different.
Yeah.
It's different than just doing a gallery or having a conversation. It was all the emotions, all the feels. I mean, I felt like I was losing my best friend, but I was happy. It was like the weirdest thing. It was all kinds of feelings that you don't like. I don't usually get like that in the real world. but you know that you're doing something because that it just hits like that, you know. But to have that evidence, to have it on camera, or to have it, you know, a sound or something is just so cool. And you hear about that too, Mikey. I don't know if you've seen it. People that have watched on camera, you know, they're with someone who's passing away and they catch the spirit. They just see something kind of moving away. And, you know, I don't know if you've experienced that, but I've heard stories like that too. It's amazing.
Yeah. Audio we got, not visual. But we, you know, Melissa and she was in her zone, seeing and hearing and communicating. And there was a gentleman in the room that the woman had passed, and we were telling the guy, you can go with her. And the EVP, I played back.
Oh my God, I'm getting teary-eyed already.
And we got a clear as day EVP of a male saying, will I be okay?
Oh my gosh.
And she said, yes, go. You'll be fine. Go with her. Go. But she, you know, like I said, Scott, in the background, you're hyper focused on this. You probably don't even know I'm standing next to you with the recorder, but I'm catching what you're seeing and what you're feeling. We're catching that with the cameras and it's so when you put it all together, it was just a beautiful, amazing encounter, and so great. I mean, how many times in anybody's lifetime that does this do you get to experience that? And we've had multiple.
Yeah.
So it's a blessing.
And even Nancy asks, like, how do you feel if you're up against evil? That's Balcony Castle. The women felt pushed out. The women didn't feel safe, like didn't like the women. And I was like, I feel fine here. Like, I feel comfortable. I want to go in. I want to try. And amazing things happen because of it. So, just because you think it's evil up front, I give them a second chance.
Yeah, absolutely. We did that at what's that?
I was going to say, there's a difference just between evil and dark.
Right.
And I think a lot of people confuse the two.
Yeah.
Well, and it's knowledge, right? And I mean, experience, I guess, doing these two. Like we've also had mediums say, hey, let's back off from this one.
Right.
We need to step away and pull back. And so, and like Cheryl said in the beginning, we don't taunt. We
respect that.
And so there's still so much to learn. And, I'm just thankful that we have amazing people like you and all these people that we've networked with throughout the time that Cheryl and I have been doing this, until the time we met until now, to learn from and then share our experiences with.
Things have changed so much. Yeah.
We crossed over someone at Greyfriars Chapel.
Oh, wow.
In Scotland. And we got there and it was immediately, we sensed this man who was looking for his wife and his son. He said, now here's the strange thing. Okay. So I'm picking this up. Someone else is doing automatic writing next to me. And we're finding out that the things she's writing are the things I'm saying. And he was a peasant, and he thought he wasn't allowed to go to heaven because he wasn't. And it was the strangest thing, because he crossed. There are no coincidences, but somebody was playing the organ upstairs. It was louder. And then as soon as he crossed and went through the light, the organ stopped, the lights went off, and they told us we had to leave. That they were closing the chapel. It was like, oh my God, it was
everything
wild.
For a reason, Scott.
Everything for a reason. It was just incredible. People were watching. They had tears. I mean, it was very, very strange and emotional and
beautiful.
I don't know.
Yep.
I mean, it's just beautiful, and to be a part of that is just incredible. Hey, you know what? I'm just looking at the time. We only have a short little few minutes left. What's going on with the Glen Tavern? And I don't mean to because I'm loving this conversation, and I hope you guys will stay on after the show is over, because I want to talk to you about something else. But
so
what's
Mikey,
going on with the Glen Tavern?
Mikey and I had gone to do the Glen Tavern Inn with Rick McCollum and the Spirit Realm Network, and we had an amazing experience there. So we went back with our group of friends here, just as a friends trip, and Jay Blumke came and filmed it. That was when we had this amazing experience, and we helped that woman and the man, will I be okay? And like all this crazy stuff happened. We turned this into an episode, right? So we did some dead air full spectrum on it. And now we're going to be going back. We're going to be going back with the Spirit Realm Network and doing a live investigation on November 18th. Correct, Mikey?
Yes.
So we get to touch base with our friends there and kind of see how things are going.
Yeah, we did have some crazy experiences there the first time with Spirit Realm when we did, Rick was getting cussed at by spirits. We got cussed at when we went with our friends' investigation. But that's where, this particular time, and I know we're running out of time, but we went into it with, there's been a lot of people there that have done investigations there that have had experiences there. We went into it with the mentality that, we're not going to try to debunk their experiences or validate their experiences. We're going to have our own experiences. Right. And so we kind of cleared the palette or the plate and went in with our own clean slate. And the evidence that we got, or the experiences that we had, were just emotional and amazing. Totally. So I love that place, and
me too.
I'm looking forward to going back. So hopefully we'll have another round 3 of getting cussed at.
Or whatever. We will. 3 out of 3 FUs so far. I think we're pretty good.
I wish we were closer so I could hang out with you guys sometime on investigation. I think it'd be great. I just want to say, we only have a few minutes left. I just want to say thank you both for being here today. And I feel like I could have gone another hour with you two. I just don't think there's enough time to chat. I do want to say next week, we're going to be chatting with my friend, actor Robert Neil Marshall. Robert is such a great guy. He was on House of Cards. He's a playwright. And he had a near-death experience. We're talking about that, and he came back. And now he's writing a show that he's asked me to co-author with him called Providence of the Heart. And it is a show. We go live on stage with it November 2nd at the Alley Theater in Middleborough. Excellent. And so it's all about near-death experiences and the opening to mediumship and past lives and all of this kind of stuff that we're all kind of interested in. So he's going to be here next week. And of course, after that, I've got 2 events. November 11th and 12th, I'm at Salem State College in Salem, Massachusetts for a couple of galleries with my friend Chris Brown. So if you're looking for tickets, check out mediumscottallen.com events, and you can get your tickets to any of these shows. And guess what? We still have a couple more minutes, so carry on, folks. I want to make sure I get all my announcements out of the way.
Well, congratulations on all of those.
Yes, things. Absolutely.
And thank you both for having us on. I mean,
great.
I miss you.
Yeah, we need a reunion.
We do need a reunion, and I'm trying to think of where we're all going to be. Christina and I are going to be in Texas. I told you, Mikey, we chatted. We're going to be in San Antonio. In November?
January. No. January, I think it's 23rd, 24th. Or
February, I'm in Naples, Florida, but that's not near you. So we need to find a California.
I will fly to you and do some of the cool stuff up there in your neck of the woods. So.
Well, I'll tell you, if you guys, all kidding aside, if you want to plan a Shanley trip, I would say that place will rock you.
And we could go meet up with Andrea, and we'll do the whole
Let me get my recorder.
She's down south though. She's not up here anymore. That's why I don't get to see her that much.
Swing by and grab her. We'll make it happen.
Grab her and come up.
Yep. Yeah, we need a tour of the house.
Well, good luck with that. You'll get in there, and the place is busy, but it's fun. You've never been? Never been to the house before?
No.
Yeah, it's fun. It's we've been a few times. The last couple of times it was sort of quiet, to be honest with you, but you know how that is. I mean, it can be that way.
There's a combination of energies that can make things happen too. Certain people
get that right.
Stuff happens.
Absolutely.
Get the right people together.
I always feel like if you can fall asleep at the Conjuring house, it's probably one of those nights. So, anyway, I want to thank you all for being here. We've come to the end of our show. Thank you, Christina, my co-host. Can't wait to see you next week. Mikey and Cheryl, thank you again. It's been an absolute pleasure. Stay on. I want to say goodbye to you after the show is over. Good night, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Paranormal Project Radio Show with Scott Allen and Christina Bowen. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. While you're there, leave us a rating and review. We'll be back next week with more exciting guests. Now go out there and explore the paranormal.